All right, I kind of maybe jumped the gun getting online here. Let me check the mic. Yeah, okay. So my one phone, it kind of works still. The uh, the external microphone still works. On the other phone, it doesn't work, and it's weird because you would think the other phone would be more compatible because it's a Google phone and you're working in Chrome. Although I tried just about every browser, it won't let the external microphone be selected. I can select it in the browser, and it still won't switch. I did a security update this morning, hoping that would be it, but it didn't work. Right. Still a little chilly this morning. So I found or I found, and I know it existed before I said it, so well because it used to be called Mormon Chat. Now it's called LDS, Missionary Chat. So I found a way to. What you need to do with that is it's not prevalent. So maybe your resources are thin, a little bit thin, yeah. But you can't find it too easy. Right. So you can. I mean, it's probably preferable that a local person contact, but your local missionaries are busy, and sometimes I reach out to the missionaries online. We do some prayer, right? So, right, we need to focus a little bit more in that direction. Whereas, and what I'm doing is it's like an affirmation kind of thing, and then maybe it'll take. Right. So we need a little more presence. I understand sometimes that people are just chatting and being facetious or uh, they're actually just there to make an argument. Well, the LDS Church does have an LGBTQ stance that and transgender stance that is not popular among certain groups. So yeah, they might look to have even a discussion. The key is that the key is live and let live, and if we get to that, that can begin the discussion in other directions. So that's where we need to go. Well, it may take affirmative discussion for it to work. Because again, you're going to be saddled with everything that's going on out here in the world. I'm actually testing my. I'm also testing my double antihistamine dose to see if it works. I'm feeling a lot better, but then again, I was inside most of the evening, so that may have helped. Right. I'm gonna go take a walk. I think. I don't know. It seems like it's just a little too cool. I'm not gonna. I could put my other jacket on. That's maybe what I'll do. I should have probably just did that before I came out. Yeah, I wish I could have figured all this out 4 years ago and kept going with massage therapy and pain management. But again, getting whittled down, getting attacked. Right. I mean, these are scientifically advanced psychological methods. They're just sick people. I don't care what their position is, what their title is, how many people they save. Because again, that's how narcissism works. Well, the president is just he's blinded by the idea that this is the plan. And what he thinks is he's going to quantum leap to everything. Like it does, like this, he'll be able to blot out this because this is going to happen later. There's no guarantee. Again, you have your business people, but there are other business people. The reason, like, again, Trump is making money based upon several factors. It's not just, he's a financial genius. He's moving political power and people want in. Right. So again, some of our financial geniuses who aren't moving political power, they're questioning the validity of the outcome. In other words, it all sounds good, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And again, we're getting to the point where you all seem just too aloof, too out of touch, too wealthy to understand the reality of what you're saying. Right. Well, I don't think we negotiated. I don't think we negotiated sufficiently initially. It's kind of like, you picking a fight with me and there's nobody picking a fight. Right. So the majority of the people, you never discussed it before you did the tariff thing. Then you go, well, there'll be, bigger business, better wages. Well, that's what was happening under Biden. Right. So I'm not sure, how you get to the point that inflation is not inflation. I'll tell you, the vision is Vance president. It's already there. They're talking about replacing Donald Trump with Vance. They're just trying to figure out how to get to that. Agreed. Again, I'm not telling you what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything. I'm simply telling you what they're doing. So their vision is to get rid of Donald Trump. Big research. Well, they believe they'll be able to convince Vance to abort the insanity. Right. Now I grab my keys because I have to go look at my mail, see what came in. trying to do informed delivery, but it wouldn't work. I can definitely smell like flowers and stuff like that right now that I couldn't smell before. So I don't know if the double antihistamine worked. And maybe what I've been needing to. But again, they're trying to get me to discuss my issue and not speak about the global issue. They get paid to do that. And even though they're in like a fusion center and they're supposed to be protecting the United States, they're playing their own game out of self-enrichment and self-criminality. I already proved enough. I don't have to prove anything about what you're doing other than it is. Real criminals living a life of robbery. The system's not doing a single thing they say it's doing. Biggest scam it ever was. They actually get off on crooks existing. So that's part of their system is to create crooks. Oh, you need us. You need us to do this. Look, I can care less about anybody around me. I'll tell you about anyone around. All right, there it is. So, I'm just trying to figure out with the hearing aid where to purchase it. Like, does it make more sense to buy it local or to buy it online? Well, the thing is, if you buy it local and you move, there's like, but if you have a problem and you need it taken care of, you can't like for repairs, you have to mail it in and right. You shouldn't have been able to do this. No doubt that it was just a lack of massage that caused all of it. Of course, they make that the big devil. That's how they do it. Nothing but an illusion. Little fatigue zone there. Nope. If I got the massages early enough, this never would have happened. There's nothing for me to stop. Well, the illusion is that I have to shut up. If I shut up, they do it 10 times as hard because they get 10 times as much money. Biggest scam that ever launched on the citizens of the United States of America. For some reason, they're attracted to killing deputy U.S. marshals. Something's wrong with them. I take it that they lack real self-esteem, and they can't deal with who they are in reality. I don't know, the wind's kind of nasty, but I don't know if I feel like being in my apartment all day. All right. I wish it was a year ago. I was pretty healthy a year ago. Right. No idea how they did it, but they did it. Darn it. It's not politics. Come on. Crazy. Haven't been in anything political my whole life. Right. So again, something happens around 5, 6 o'clock, and they wake me up. It's a metaphysical awakening, not awakening, but and then they start harassing them. This is really who they are. Freaking devils. $30-something years worth of stuff. Just keep passing it off to the next devil. And the next devil makes their money. So I was talking to my therapist, and she does a good job. She's above most of them. Like the other one didn't know what to say, and I take it that she didn't want to be around me. Right. Thank you, Larry. She'll actually, she's a graduate of the Dallas Theological Seminary. Look, you all had plenty of time all those years to stop. It isn't like, well, I've only been in a year, 2 years. It's reasonably foreseeable. It was exactly what I said it was. You will have plenty of time to stop. You still haven't stopped. You're all still doing it. And your goal is to cause a crime, maybe even a violent crime. So you torture victims into violent crime. They don't think it's funny. And again, if they don't commit the crime, what happens? They get sick. Right. This is their life. This is their genius. Their genius programs. Just like we're going to make $1 million off of inflation. It's insane. If you take inflation and you explain it the right way, it'll look like you're making money. Oh, we used to sell this for this, now we sell it for that. We're making money. Meanwhile, everything else goes up. Yeah, people with a lot of money like that. It's an illusion, but they like it because they're stupid. Most people with money are stupid. Right? They just put it in there by a corrupt system. I mean, they're criminal. Made money, because why? Because they're part of a criminal system. If you stand them down, I'd probably move in a different direction. But at a certain stage of the game, they have to be spoken about. Well, because they're powering up by doing this stuff to me. If you stop them, then I don't have to worry about depowering them. Right. I can't believe it's still like cool in the morning out there. I was so close to getting out of here when I moved here. I was looking at Colorado Springs and I just couldn't get to that point. So again, if they were trying to push me out, which they were trying to do, or telling you they were trying to do, trying to keep me here. Right. So they could make money off of doing it to me. They're scammers, man. They're grifters, dangerous grifters, psychotic, narcissistic, murderous grifters. Well, we're the best of the best. See how it works? We're the best of the best, they say. So what I did have a thought that I had not been massaged in a while, but I thought I was soft enough not to go, but obviously I was wrong. I'd never, I just had not got those tissues relaxed. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You got all these criminals in this world, and you're going to focus on me and try to turn me into one. I mean, that's insane. Absolutely insane. That's why they don't wear the blue line anymore. Because they're not really the blue line. There was no reason to do this to me. I was not a snitch. I didn't call. And actually, the people that are trying to point the finger at me are the ones that call internal all the time. They go, "Oh yeah, because there was a reason to call internal, right?" See how they bounce that back and forth. Right. I got no idea how people sit in their apartment all day to begin with. I guess they watch the boob tube or something. I'm just kind of out in the valley. I can't sit in there all day. I used to have a normal life where I go to church or some other place. Kind of helicopter. Did that poke around? Well, but you have to understand, like they're throwing at me this idea. Well, we help people, we save people in car accidents, but you can obliterate that with one act of devilry. Like, is that why you worked your whole life to save people so you can kill people? No, my Wi-Fi was on. It'd have been easy. You really want to change my life? You could just got me into a church instead of playing that game like I'm dangerous. I go to a church. They tell everybody, the skinny, and that's it. Whatever the story is, the story is. So yeah, if you've never been to a church or never operated around a church, that's what happens. They come in and they say, "This guy's evil. This guy has to be treated this way," and then they do it. Everybody in the church nods their head yes, and they have a great life. Sorry. No, I minded my own business. That was my life. I wasn't looking to destroy anyone's life, and maybe that's the reality of why they didn't want me there. Right? These people would make up stuff and call and turn on each other. Right? Who knows? They probably were paid to do it. So, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the United States just completely failed. I mean, you got to stay peaceful through it all. You can't be violent. So it's not the United States. And you're all just part of that progression into devilry. No, I didn't have relationships with anybody. Like sexual relationships with nobody. They're the ones having sexual relationships. I'd care less. I ignored them. I believe some of these people wanted to have sexual relations with me, but like in an abusive way. They're psychos. Kind of wish I could still drink coffee. It's kind of difficult walking during allergy season without coffee. I don't know any of you. Say they got this like psychotic thing that they know me because they stalked me for so many years. like just some sort of relationship. So, so what they did is they built a system that no matter what they do, that there's an excuse for it. Oh, because we're actually heroes. That's why we committed a crime. Right. I was simply just building that arc here, and that's all I was doing. I got no idea what you all thought you were doing. Right. Darn it. That's them. There was no reason to attack my life. There was a reason to help my life and then get me somewhere. You know that's how it works. Yeah, they're going to try to remove Trump. It's just there's just no reason to keep him there. Right. For these people. I spent decades just stressing me out trying to tighten my body up and then blocking massage when I got to it. Mm. Now he isolated me and everything. I couldn't. If, you know, it all fits together. If they don't do all of it, then it doesn't. There's too many ways to save yourself. Essentially, if you're around people, if I get that fixed. Right. They say their victim makes their own choices. It's psychological warfare and psychological torture. You don't make choices. You just survive through it the best you can. I'd have been married. I'd have been in church. I'd had a normal life. No, I don't touch people. You're the ones that touch people. I watch people in church for years. I didn't obsess over it, but you watch them touchy feely with people. Right. And maybe they're the ones that do it because they are guilty of something. This wind is a little bit too much up here. Go back down into the development. I just keep walking so I can keep losing weight. I got to get my weight down. Again, when this kicked off, my weight was down and all that, and I got tight and I tried to release it. I just at a certain point I bonked out. I couldn't get to it anymore. I wasn't succeeding at it. Some people had I think it was a botched procedure. Right. So, and the massage therapist wasn't quite understanding what she needed to do. Again, I need more trigger point. Focus on that. Again, that can be a tough thing to do for some massage therapists. But what she was doing is by arm bar my back, my lower back wasn't released. Nothing was released, and it was causing a lot of tension and pain in the legs. So I just told her I couldn't do it. But all I had to do was actually start releasing my neck and my shoulders and all that, and then everything else would have came. Right. And then I wouldn't have been in that predicament per se. Right. And I would have 4 years of health. But, I don't believe it's one woman. They want to believe it's one woman. I mean, it's a scam that they're into. It's a ton of people. It's a criminal enterprise of people. I'll tell you the truth. I don't even know if there is a woman involved. Blink, blink. Think you're funny. I don't know if Trump makes it. I don't know. Not really that interested. No, I was doing fine like last year this time. Even in the fall, early fall, I was cleaning all the sidewalks around our area and raking all the leaves, and all of a sudden that was it. Like I said, as soon as I went to try to get a surgery on my cyst, all of a sudden I got sick. And then I couldn't pull out of it. Again, the whole thing is, there's so much going on crime wise. Why? How do they have time to do any of what they're doing? I'm not a criminal by any stretch of imagination. I mean, that illusion wore itself out years ago. Naples, Florida, Santa Fe, New Mexico, they all Texas, Oklahoma, they all got it. They all got the disease of devilry. We call it church sometimes. I'm not dangerous to the church. I help wake up the church most cases. It's just you hard cases that are devils that can't stop being devils that are the problem. Thank you much. Now face it, you're all devils. And you think if you cause everybody else to fall, that somehow that redeems you. Mm. Now again, if they're not in the church, they'll recruit the church. So again, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. There's something wrong with all of them, and there's no doubt. No, there's never been a doubt. There's never been a doubt. What they're trying to do right now, run off. And then they get paid. If I thought there was some health I could fund by running off, I would do it. It wasn't supposed to be done. There's just no doubt. Well, my therapist, she knows it happened. I don't know how she knows it happened, but she does. Right. Her thing is, how do you move past it? Yeah. How do you pass it? Right. No, the whole time my cranial tissues were tightening up, and I thought it was a sinus infection. It wasn't. I mean, there was probably sinus infections in there at certain points. It was neurological, and I thought it was, infection. Although there probably were infections. No, they needed to be moved, and then my mind could have settled into something. That's how the world works. Once they block you from it, your mind can't get there. No, they're talking about removing Donald Trump or figuring out a way to remove him. I mean, it's getting to that point where they can make a case, and it's not just Democrats, because he's fantasizing about, and just you know. So again, he ran on this thing where he's going to get rid of inflation. He's not getting rid of inflation. If he gets rid of inflation, it'll be via recession. Well, he's just eating up all this, and nobody sees a future where there's going to be a saving of money. Yeah, correct. Oops. I mean, you just take somebody's hearing and laugh about it. Say God in him because you created this battle that never really existed. Just like the people I work with, I was their big enemy, and I go, like, what? How am I your big enemy? Like, I'm just doing the work. Their mind was that I was going to be promoted and be this big inspector, and I'm like thinking, what makes you think that? I don't get anything for what I'm doing. Right. Yeah, well, probably should have stopped years ago. This idea of stopping like 6 months ago. I mean, there's no reason to bring it to any community I move into. I moved in this apartment. You replaced a microphone you stole like a year and a half before, thinking it's funny. There's no way that it just showed up because I didn't see it. I mean, I've been having this done to me for so long that I know that I have to take. I even took the top off of the cabinet to make sure it wasn't somewhere that I couldn't see. I mean, they're nuts. Every last one of them's a devil, a narcissistic devil. They're not going after a pedophile. They're trying to make me a pedophile, and they know I made them a pedophile, or I figured out that they were a pedophile. Right. And again, they're trying to cause me to be a pedophile by torture. The whole scam is that I have something to do, that I have to change, that I've done something. It's all bullshit. Right. I was not trying to have sex with women. Right. Was not trying to have sex with men or boys. Right. In fact, other people were. I mean, it's ludicrous. The ludicrous part is when you get to Santa Fe. I don't know what goes on in this community. Maybe they're that sexual too. Well, because they're all sexual. And they're all actually doing what they're trying to say I'm doing. I wasn't turning anybody in for anything. If they told you I was doing it, the only thing I was concerned with was uh, drugs coming into our community, like the community I lived in, pretty much. Right. I mean, because they were taking advantage of a disabled people, women, right? And next thing you know, she's pregnant like 6 months later, a year later. Right? She's on disability. They were feeding her drugs and having sex with her. Again, when you look at Santa Fe, when you look at New Mexico and what's going on there, it's a joke that they're looking at me. Right. No, they started long before. All they had to do was stop, and everybody knew that. And more would find his life, and then it'd be over. Well, you had to do it for decades. I got myself in trouble. That's an illusion. Right. How you doing? Morning. Actually, they owed me, and if they would have paid me, everything would have worked. I mean, there was just no reason, no reason at all. I mean, I go to a gym and the women trying to pick me up, and it's all a scam. And then they go, "Well, what does he make him? What does he think that woman would want to be with him for?" I mean, it's disgusting. What you worry? Thank you. Feel like I just walked out. My neighbor was walking out of his door. So again, that happens here a lot. I mean, I got no idea, how these people aren't in prison for life. Got no idea. I mean, I remember being in the Marshal Service and going, "What the hell's going on here?" I mean, you got people that killed themselves in the Marshal Service because of these people. Well, why would they kill themselves? Because you did that to them. You're all devils. If you weren't devils, then it wouldn't have happened. I mean, I have no idea how they were allowed to do this in all them years. You know what you're doing on. You don't have to tell you every jot and tittle of harassment that you're engaged in. Well, maybe y'all should stop. Maybe y'all should let my life pick up and, maybe even try to fix my life. And maybe you'd have less worries. Again, that's what it is part of it. They commit crimes against somebody, a victim, and then they begin to worry about the ramifications of their actions so that, it can get them to attack the victim even more. I was doing nothing. I was living in New Jersey just quietly, minding my own business, ride my bicycle or going to the gym or something, right? They changed my personality all those years. Part of it was being tortured like that. And what they do is because people eventually figure it out, they start talking about my secret life. They like it actually exists. You never see him at the casino. That's because he's running down to the gay bars. I don't know how many times he tries to make me gay. No, my therapist isn't humoring me. Right. Because we started lightly. My therapist, I just kind of brought it up. And she said, well, governments just aren't structured to take care of people. No doubt that happened. Right. Yeah, she tried to be gentle about how she explained it. Right. So what she focuses on, which is valid, is how to get me to live under those conditions. Kind of deprogramming me. Right. I was trying the other day, the system was trying to get me to leave her and go for someone else. And that's the evil system. Correct. And she even like almost took a little bit of the bait, and I just kind of didn't focus on it. Right. But the next time she regrouped. Oh, they developed psychology to cause psychological issues. But if I try to friend with somebody and a cop starts following that person in relation to those conversations, they're not going to stay with me. In fact, if they're approached, they might even lie about something if they think they're going to get something for it. Right. Yeah, I know all these things are done. Again, I'm not Jesus. What do we know? They did it to Jesus. Right. No, he took me out of healthcare, believe me. He developed the psychology so that you would develop an aversion to all sorts of things. I couldn't even. I was trying to be equal. But that's my mind. No care. I didn't do it. There's no care in the programs. Right. No, they need to be removed and they need to be sent to prison. And then things will normalize. And it's so funny. All these people complaining about Biden and money. Right. I'm no fan of Biden, but I mean, people, I mean, you have to figure it out. People are losing millions and millions of dollars. Right. Oh, I might have sent an error on my browser. Well, Trump's people point to Biden. They still do it. But yet, everybody sees what they're doing and what the reaction is to it. Well, all you have to do, I mean, obviously, one of the answers is for Social Security funds to be invested. You don't have to start a 401k to do that. You could have already started investing Social Security funds. But again, I think you have a means to an end that you're all looking for, and you're not going to let anybody up until you get it. Possibly. We could probably keep, I mean, the honest programs. We don't have to cut that much. We just have to start investing from the government. It's not illegal as long as you keep it neutral. Not sure what you're all doing. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. As a way to save. In fact, the projections are that it's not going to save money. Make sure this is draining. And then put it back on. So again, that's why you're in a predicament, because you're all not like people see what's going on, right? So they want to get rid of Trump, and they believe that they'll be able to dissuade Vance from going in the directions that we're going now. Again, Vance has to, was along for the ride. I said that when Kamala Harris was with Biden, the vice didn't have a ton of recourse. Correct. All right. It would take a lot, but I don't think it's undoable. Well, Republicans, you'll still be in power, so you might be able to recruit enough Republicans if the economy keeps degrading and he keeps, just let me go golfing, they might get rid of him. Right. Thank you, Larry. Just about out of juice here on this particular phone. There we go. So again, they're trying to play this game in my mind where you should have been happy with what you had, your health, and I already told you that I'm happy with my health, but what you're all doing is going to cause my health to degrade. And it's not because I said it; it's because that's a fact, right? So again, they try to play their game both ways, right? There are people right now trying to figure out how to dump Trump and put Vance in power. Oh my God. Agreed. He's got to get off the stupidity kick. He has to get off that stupidity kick. What's going on? They're blocking it. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God and all that you do. Praise God.